an event that starts at 3:10, I think. Has something to do with the little round ball and nets. So no, seriously, we'll go ahead and we're all good. We'll go ahead and get started. For those that celebrate it, happy St. Patrick's Day. Whatever other day it might be. I got an email from Tim Albert that I couldn't understand, but I think it said Happy St. Patty's Day, and I was glad to get it.
Did you understand the Go Who's part of it?
Yeah, I did. I saw that part. Yeah. If anyone needs rest breaks, down the hall to the right. If we have to vacate the room for any reason, it's down the steps, out the door to the left, and we'll rally behind the building. If we go ahead and do a quick round of introductions, we'll get started. Chris?
Chris Engel, City of Charlottesville.
Kristen Sakis, City of Charlottesville.
Mark Graham, County of Albemarle.
Morgan Butler, Southern Environmental Law Center.
Pete Forces, CMA Properties.
Lou?
Lou Hatter, VDOT Communications.
John Lynch, VDOT Public Register.
Al Jones, VDOT Charlottesville Residency.
Linda Culp, VDOT ITC.
Debbie?
Dave Covington, VDOT Charlottesville Residency.
Golden Nunzio, VDOT Charlottesville Residency.
And for those tuned in on Route29Solutions.org, if you go to the advisory panel, panel and meetings pages, advisory panel documents, you'll find the presentation and the agenda for today's meeting, and thanks for joining us. I told John Lynch I would mention something that's not only important for VDOT, it's important for anybody out on the roads. April is Work Zone Awareness Month. It's a national month that is recognized by DOTs across the country. For those of you around here, you've probably seen the VDOT Workers Memorial up on Afton Mountain. That's probably one of the things I feel best about from my time at VDOT. There's an interesting story about how we got that built, but probably not something to be told today. There's a vigil up there at 6:30 on April the 13th where the commissioner and secretary and several VDOT, a lot of VDOT people kind of take time to remember folks that have lost their lives in work zones. I still remember the two names that we put there when I was at VDOT, James Richard Cameron and Paul Thurber. Those things stick with you for a while. So John, thanks for reminding me about that and having me remind everyone else. On our participation for the live streaming last week or last meeting, a fewer viewers, down to 18 from 23, a fewer number of streams, and roughly the same amount of time for each average stream. The inbox for the last couple of weeks, we got about 3 project-related, direct project-related comments, and then around a dozen emails or phone calls about the CenturyLink mishap. We did get one note, and I was very appreciative of seeing that, Lou, and thank you for sharing it, just commenting very positively, not just about Lane Corman's media release saying, hey, our bad, but also the fact that VDOT used their distribution list to get that Lane Corman release out to the to everyone on the distribution list. There was one note that had to do about a road closed sign that was in the wrong place and was affecting some circulation around the business. We got that taken care of. It was just simply misplaced. And there was one email note about a service outage that wasn't related to CenturyLink. It was just a specific outage for one establishment, I guess is the best way to phrase it, and that got corrected. There were 2 new postings and one that I responded to on the provide input section of the web. Both postings were related to the CenturyLink outage. Was there something else to follow that?
Yes.
Okay, no phone calls to the hotline. I'm actually surprised that you didn't get inundated last Monday and Tuesday, but for whatever reason. Yeah, no phones, you're
Nobody
right.
called.
You're right. That would be it. That would be it.
Oh.
Good catch, Linda, good catch. And we'll talk about that a little later. I think there we are. As far as panel feedback, just before the last meeting, Pete had a series of questions that were very, very good questions, and I thought we would just review those so everybody would hear the answers. Are the left turn storage lanes at Woodbrook and 29th Place being extended? And the answer is yes. If you recall, VDOT made a commitment to extend them by a minimum of 50 feet or whatever is indicated through the traffic analysis. And the Woodbrook is being extended 50 feet, and down at 29th Place, that traffic analysis actually showed that needed a little bit additional storage, and it's being extended 75 feet, and those extensions are in the approved roadway construction plans, so that's there. The next question was about the pedestrian lights and whether or not they were being extended an equal distance on the east and west side of Route 29, north of Ryle Road. And Pete, I think the specific example you had are the ones in front of Albemarle Square being extended the same distance as the ones up in front of Goodwill. And the answer is yes, and it's the same thing. Now, yes, generally speaking, to the south, there's a little displacement because of an entrance where we can't put a pedestrian light, but the answer is yes. But on both sides of the local lanes, the pedestrian lights are being extended and roughly equal distance on each side. And it was hard to tell looking at that video. You really... Yeah, exactly. The right turn lane from Rio westbound to 29 northbound, will that be a controlled stop rather than free-flowing because of pedestrians? And it will be free-flowing except when a pedestrian activates the pedestrian signal. And when the pedestrian signal is activated, the traffic signal will go red.
I got that impression, but I guess I'm concerned about how that's going to be signed, because,
Green the rest of the time.
I mean, is there going to be a green arrow there when the pedestrians are not calling for it?
I think so. Yes.
Because
Yes.
the drivers, I think, will think stop and then go on red as opposed to a free-flowing arrow. Does that make sense? I mean, and if that traffic is stopped right on red.
We'll look at the signal phasing, the signal plan, but I think it's a green arrow.
Yes. Unless it's active. Well, that makes sense, because
Yeah.
to keep that traffic flowing, that's going to back up quick with only one lane.
Yeah. But we'll make absolutely sure of the signal plan.
Okay.
How will Charlottesville be signed on the local lanes? Last meeting, I always say last week, we talked a bit about the overhead signs and where Charlottesville is on that sign. And we have talked, and a supplementary sign will be located on the southbound local lanes, directing Charlottesville traffic to Rio Road, where they would take a left to go Rio Road east and down the John Miller Parkway. Now, an additional sign
Say that again?
There'll be a sign on so now you've kind of approached the grade separated intersection and you're on the local lanes, southbound. There will be a supplementary sign, ground mounted, not overhead, that will just say Charlottesville with an arrow.
But it's not going to tell you to turn left onto Rio Road, because we don't want people turning left onto Rio Road.
No, that's
On what becomes Park Street, we want them on Rio Road east.
That's what it will be telling you to
West.
turn. This is up at the intersection.
Yes. But what that looks like is they'll turn left onto Rio, but they're not going to turn left again when Rio keeps going left and becomes Park Street at the,
No, they'll go to John Moore,
Okay.
John Moore Park.
okay, good.
Yeah, yes, yeah, not that intersection.
Yeah.
No,
that's what
no,
the-
no, no.
I saw this,
No,
ah.
no,
Opposite.
that, there's someone we know that would be very upset
Someone
over
would.
that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and I wouldn't blame them. No, that's not what we're talking
Okay.
about. But now, there is a possibility that we could have an additional supplementary sign noting that Emmett Street can be accessed on the local
Great.
lane as well by going straight, right, off the local lane southbound and continuing on Route 29.
I think, though, that the confusion with the overhead signs is that not everyone coming into Charlottesville knows that Emmett Street is Charlottesville. So
That's true.
if you're saying Charlottesville's that way,
Mhm.
and Emmett Street is this way, they're going to think, oh, I'm going to Charlottesville, I'm going to go that way, when really what they want is probably straight ahead.
What if?
Well, we've got UVA straight ahead
Yeah,
on the overhead. sign.
UVA's on the overhead sign,
Clearly
which
marked.
ties into the overhead sign
Right.
at 250.
Right, and which I think is a very good, because
Yeah.
a lot of that straight traffic is UVA
Right.
bound in one way or another.
But a lot of people going to Charlottesville are going to want to go straight.
You're right, so is the Emmett Street sign necessary?
Yeah, Emmett doesn't really
It just
help
seemed like
get
a
you there.
confusion.
Well-
I can say Charlottesville that way and that way.
Well, that's not especially desirable
Yeah,
to.
like downtown is that way, but Charlottesville is this
Could
way.
we add downtown to the Charlottesville left sign?
But it's too late. But
Right.
we could
No,
say
no,
downtown.
it's not too late, it's not necessarily too late for that sign.
Okay.
The overhead signs
Yeah.
are,
I would
that's
say
too late.
the left turn should just say downtown, not Charlottesville, because half of Charlottesville is straight ahead.
Well, let us knock that around.
I think the word downtown will in some form, either with Charlottesville or without, would
Yeah.
at least help. But you're saying that's already.
Because it's
Overhead.
like,
The overhead.
it's like
The
you're saying
overhead-
all of Barracks Road and that
the
whole side
overhead
of town
is
isn't Charlottesville.
in fabrication.
But once you get off on the local lane, you'd at least get some additional clarification, and at that point, it's not too late.
To keep going.
Go straight.
So if it says UVA, but then if traffic's flowing towards that, Charlottesville, when they approach like the 250 bypass before that, they want to go downtown, is there going to be, or is that way ahead of the gate? Is there any signage to, at that point, it's like they've gotten through the Rio intersection because they're following the UVA signage, and then as they get further, closer, not further, but closer into town, something that is more directional
Right.
towards Charlottesville.
Oh, you mean past the 29, 250?
At
Before, is there
At hydraulic,
approach?
basically.
Does that make sense?
I frankly don't. I mean, what's at hydraulic is not going to change. What's there right now is not going to change with this project. And I frankly don't remember everything that's on the overhead signs at 29, 250.
And you could get to
But
downtown
that-
in lots of ways from there.
Well, as Dave pointed out one time we were discussing, you could really get to Rio and get downtown any way you go if you know.
Except turning right.
Yeah.
Well, it usually becomes like.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
Comes
It'll
hydraulic.
back around,
Yeah,
won't it?
yeah. Let,
I just want to make sure that Charlottesville somehow is indicated straight ahead, as well as left.
We've spent a lot of time on this. I brought this
I
up
know,
originally,
yeah.
long,
Yeah.
you know,
When I was there.
and I mean, I don't disagree that, but I think you gotta choose one or the other on the signage, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't send them both directions.
That's where I think just adding the word downtown.
Downtown is left,
A little bit of
definitely.
clarification.
It's the best way to get downtown from there.
well, if we did that, then it's not like, there's not likely to be another sign on the local lanes that would say Charlottesville straight ahead. Okay, I mean, you know, when we had the discussion around Charlottesville,
You can't contradict the overhead sign.
yeah, you don't want to contradict the overhead signs, you want to supplement it.
But I still think people see the downtown word, they'll say, oh, that's downtown Charlottesville, they'll see UVA straight ahead, and that may be enough information. for
I-
them to make-
Yeah.
I think people will know where they're going a lot more than we're inclined to think
Yeah.
they will,
But just-
and just as long as it's not confusing. But,
So I would only say that on that local lane sign, instead of saying Charlottesville left, say downtown left.
what about Charlottesville downtown? Downtown. Dave wants to say downtown.
Because you've already got the big sign
Downtown.
saying Charlottesville.
Downtown.
So you're not contradicting it,
Downtown.
you're just saying, you're specifying.
Downtown. It's downtown. It's where all the people are.
Downtown.
Downtown. Okay. All right. Dave?
Thank you.
Done. Done. And that'll be it. Okay?
If we were in Europe, we'd say centre, right?
Okay. Yeah, it'd be on the ground mounted. So, okay. No more big sign structures. It'll get lost among all the tots.
I imagine we haven't heard the last of it, but, I mean.
I
think
imagine we haven't heard the last of it,
Right.
but does that seem, I mean, in all honesty, does that seem like a reasonable decision?
No, it does seem like we
To say downtown on the local lanes? Say downtown, yeah.
Well, it's adding clarification to the overhead.
It's adding clarification to the
And
overhead.
that's fine, I think it's, a decision is made, I mean, so we're okay with that, but I
Yeah.
think as the public / Rio Road residents become aware that we're potentially sending by signage.
Right.
More traffic, I just think there's gonna be some pushback.
Yeah.
And we just need to be.
Yeah, okay.
We,
Yeah.
not me.
No, I understand. I
Not you.
understand.
Need to be
Yeah, I
prepared to
understand.
answer
I
Me and
understand.
Brad.
That's all.
Okay, okay,
And
Okay.
I think it's a fine decision.
okay.
Thank you.
Did that get to the questions you had asked? a
Yeah,
couple weeks
sorry.
ago?
Yeah, it was, they all came out of the video.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah.
thought was a good video.
Okay, okay, all right. Joel's continued to monitor the crash reports and update some results. And we did go back and found that there were a few more entries for our November comparison. If you'll recall, about a month ago, we had 11 2014 crashes and 2 in 2015. The updated information, there was a couple more in 2014, 13. And 3 more had been recorded for November of 2015. So the 11 and 2 went to 13 and 5. The December information just came out, December 14, 19, and this is on Route 29, between 29th Place and Woodbrook. Yeah. I think between 29th Place and Woodbrook. 19 crashes, December of this past year, 11. And I looked through all the details that Joel had compiled, and when I say the predominant number were and continue to be rear end, I mean with rare exception, that's what they are. There was one crash in, I think this was the Rio work zone.
Yeah.
Where.
South of the intersection.
Pardon me?
Northbound lane, south of the intersection.
Northbound lane, south of the intersection, where a car got into the work zone and struck a truck. I don't think
The truck was backing up.
The truck was backing up. I don't think there were any injuries from that incident. But Joel has gotten into that report now, and I think has got it down about how to extract information out of this statewide report.
So basically, construction makes us safer.
Well,
People are more careful when there's lots of barriers.
you
Well-
remove, what most of the crashes are rear ends, and they're usually due to congestion, due to the traffic lights. I think what we're seeing is removal of 2 traffic lights has reduced the rear end crashes a little bit.
I'm voting for
It-
construction.
Yeah.
It's a combination of both.
You want to be careful drawing a conclusion. But,
I was kind of joking, but.
but no, I know. But we will continue to look at this, and it generally takes another month before we'll see the January data. Is that
Well, the November took a while. and
November
it had
took a
to
long
do
time.
With the holidays.
Yeah.
December was only, 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
So, I'm not, maybe in a month.
Joel's got that on his scorecard, and he'll keep track of it.
Bill, one thing with regard to accidents in the work zone. Every night, because of the complexity of the work zone, we have Albemarle County Police out there, and they have their blue lights on, and that helps a great deal.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does. So, thanks to them.
For work zones, when I've driven through it, which certainly isn't every night, it's a well-controlled it's complex and well-controlled work zone. Okay. Open discussion. Pete, Chip's not here. Did you want to say anything about the event Tuesday night?
Yeah, sure. It was, Colonial Nissan hosted a chamber after hours event, and we had about 180 attendees. So it was a
Wow.
well-attended
That's great.
event. And Matt was there from SIR, and Lee Cowden was there, and some Chip was there. And it was a balancing act for us because we wanted to be proactive chamber members, and it was a monthly event for the chamber. But at the same time, we had all the poster boards up. We had a running video of the architectural, the one we saw, and also the promo pieces that Matt's put together. So I think it was a good opportunity for the business, the business reach out that we're trying to do, the RIO plus 29 deal, to be introduced in a passive way. So there were, we worked with the chamber. We made sure we invited all the non-members to the event that wanted to come without charge or any other obligation. So we had a lot of the neighboring businesses that weren't members of the chamber attend just to get information. So I have not followed up. I followed up with Lee, but I didn't get an opportunity to follow up with Matt to see how he felt it went. Lee felt it went really well, and she had a lot of really good conversations.
Matt was really pleased.
Good.
I know Matt was really, really pleased.
Well, I mean, the number of attendees was good. And obviously, we're looking out the showroom at the construction, so.
Sure, yeah.
It was in the right spot, and I think that moving forward, the chamber is going to work each month from here on through the closure to have it in the quadrant.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And
That is great.
I hope that works well. But I think it was a good. We didn't want it to be a full construction presentation, so it was a nice balance, and I think it went over really well.
In case you don't know where you're going.
Let me add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that Matt and SIR and Lee, they've done a really good job. They've come up with some really good stuff, and the group that's helping has weighed in a lot. There's still some pushback in the business community around the area, and then people are just really busy and don't have time to attend all these meetings and that sort of thing. But balancing that, it's come out good. I think the communication process through.
That's great.
I hope it stays that way.
Yeah. Lou gave me showed me this pad this morning, and I passed one around to everybody. Of the get around map. Matt sent me the two TV spots that have been developed for the framing place.
Those were running on a loop.
Wow. I mean, what an opportunity if you're a business person.
And now might be an opportunity. I think there's still an opportunity for any businesses that might have interest in having a representative in one of those loops.
Yes.
I think that Matt was still attempting to, and we deferred. I really think it's a better idea to have a smaller business do it. But if anybody's listening or anybody knows of another business that might be interested in having that.
I know Lou and Lee are doing some more outreach to other businesses, and
because it's a great opportunity. There's no cost to the business.
Yeah,
and it puts faces in the discussion.
Yeah.
Two of the boards back there are the mock-ups for the print advertisements, the print versions of the video ads. The other easel is those are door hangers that they're proposing would be distributed to people just to solicit interest in going around as well.
The TV spots were really good. I mean, they were very well. For those two businesses were the ones. Is there any limit on those, or I mean, like?
there's probably an upper limit of just the ability to produce these things.
Yeah.
We were talking the other day, Lee and I met with a couple of the other county folks, and given the fact that there's going to be a lot of this advertising, having a rotation with a number of different businesses keeps it fresher than just having one or two. So we're looking at, I think Matt's idea was to try to get at least 2 from each of the 4 quadrants.
Yeah.
The numbers I heard were 6 or 8.
Yeah.
The lead time on production is really the challenge. We got to get them out there.
Right.
Produced.
Well, yeah, if you know of any businesses, if anybody's listening that knows of any businesses, should they get in touch with you, Lou, or
Sure, myself or Lee Catlin.
or Lee Catlin at the county, and see what's involved in making one of these spots, because they're first class. I thought it's a great job. VDOT is paid for the get around maps and for all of the, as we mentioned before, for kind of the creative work, and then the business assistant subcommittee with their pool of funds is paying for these spots. And at our next meeting, March 31st, Lou is going to give us an update on the media campaign from the VDOT side that will be targeted toward the summertime work.
Could you have a few of those videos queued up to run for the panel? Might be helpful. We have the technology.
If we emailed them to Linda, why couldn't we?
It might be nice for the panelists.
Yeah. What? Did they come through to you? Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that, and when you get them, yell or throw a rock. Morgan?
No, next meeting.
Oh, next time.
No, I didn't mean now.
No, next time.
Might be nice for the panelists.
All right, email them to Linda anyway. Yeah, that's right, you're pushing this 3 o'clock thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Morgan?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good.
I just noticed one thing, just this week, because I know Pete had sent an email about something there about the lanes at Rio and 29 with the new traffic kind of temporary signals.
Yes.
And something kind of related to that I noticed. It was kind of like Chip's discussion of the people following the truck with the, through the construction. I was heading eastbound on Rio at 29, and the traffic signals, like when you're approaching the intersection, let's say you'd normally pull up, a vehicle would be here, and your line of sight is kind of straight through the intersection, but the traffic signal is actually back a little bit from it, so it's like I almost ran a red light into that intersection. And I took a picture through my, and I can send it to you with that something, and I don't even know if it's possible to read, but it's like the light hangs here, but your vehicle wants to pull on through to where the actual intersection.
Stop bar is?
Yeah.
When did this occur?
This week.
This week? Because the stop bar should
Because I'm like looking ahead.
The stop bar should be ahead of the signal.
Oh, I don't know if there was actually the stop bar. It's like your natural pull.
Because you've been driving through the signal for so long.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So.
You might look to maybe put a wider stop bar there or something, because there's a stop bar there.
Yeah, I didn't notice the stop bar.
But maybe
Well,
we
can
do
you
something
look into that and just see? Okay.
Or stop
That
here
may
on
happen
red.
with some of
Yeah,
the-
stop here on
Because
red.
you're line and you're looking forward for the light.
Because there's one of those,
Light, yeah.
there's that stop here on red
Yes.
on Rye Road West going east at the intersection, on the right turn lane. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Take a look at that. Okay. On our milestones, even though a few things, are behind maybe where Lane Corman thought they would be overall, I can tell you that the critical items are progressing quite well. The retaining walls scooted up on the GSI 75% of the way through there. This gas line relocation on Route 29 widening, I don't think maybe Wayne Corman gave themselves as much time as they might need to finish that. It's supposed to be finished by the end of April. but that's not an item that's going to upset the overall schedule. On Burkmar, while there might be a couple of things that are going slower than anticipated, overall, things are going gangbusters up there. I mean, the clearing north of the river, 70%, north of the abutment, up to 40%. Those are longer lead items. Things are going very, very well there. Hillsdale, man, we had a great week, or a great day there, March the 8th. We got the 100% design plans in, on time. They've been reviewed, comments back to the city. This proprietary item checklist that we've talked about longer than I want to think about has been wrapped up and done. So, we're on track for 2 weeks from today. There's still, Hal's got plenty to do working with Jeanette and Tony at the city, but that's been a lot of hard work that has paid off well. Down on 29-250, and Dave will give you more information on all these in the updates. A lot of work still going on with the sound barriers. You see all the posts up in the air there, and that's what those are for. This continues to, even though this paving is going to shift out here, it's still good for wrapping up a couple of months from now. If you had any specific questions on a project, maybe hold it for Dave when he's talking about that particular project in his project update. Would that be fair enough? Okay. And with that, Dave, you got about 20 minutes before everybody starts squirming.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Start with 29-250 that we just talked about. Phil just talked about with the sound walls. That post installation continues. If you've driven through there, they had the steel posts on the caissons on top of the retaining wall, and now they're installing the concrete posts further out. And probably early next week, they're going to jump over to the south side of the road and start with that noise wall over there. So that's showing a lot of progress. And then they'll start putting in those actual panels that slide down in between the vertical posts. Completing the miscellaneous sidewalk and ramp installations throughout the project, little pieces of concrete here and there. Completing the installation of curb along the actual Best Buy ramp. So you've been driving up that ramp for a while and seeing some stone on the left side and the right side. Actually getting some curb in there now. Completing the storm drain pipe flushing. As part of the project, they had to flush out all the existing pipes, get them cleaned out so we don't have any drainage issues. Something we usually do with our contracts to make sure that we go ahead and take care of some maintenance issues while we're doing construction. And beginning installation of the foundations for the overhead signs on 250. So last week and the week before, they were working on the foundations for the overhead signs on 29. Now they're going up to 250. So lane closures, Route 250 inside lane closures. They've been working on some median curb and drop inlets and the lengthening of the left turn lane to Emmett Street South. That will continue this week, or has continued this week. 29 southbound nighttime lane closures for including the ramp for finishing up the median and also some of that concrete work for the ramps and sidewalks. Detour along Barracks Road ramp for ramp closure, so they've been extending those noise wall posts down the ramp. It's pretty tight on that ramp to get the crane in there to put all that in place. They're doing a detour for that. Next slide. Over the next 2 weeks, continuing the post installation for the sound walls and the foundations for the overhead sign structures on Route 250. So we're starting to really get everything down to a couple of big items. So this is usually what happens when a project is finishing up, and then they'll come back in with pavement and miscellaneous small items. So upcoming lane closures, very similar to what we just discussed, actually the same as what we just discussed, as they finish up those overhead sign structures in the median and on the side of the road, as well as the vertical posts on the Barracks Road ramp. This is a picture of the MSC wall. So we've talked about MSC walls for a long time, but now you can actually see what the MSC wall looks like on the widening. So up here is the widened area of 250 where the pavement will be placed. These are the residential areas that exist right beside, adjacent to 250. This is kind of looking down the wall. It's a pretty significant wall. It's pretty tall. This isn't even the tallest part. The other thing you can see right here, these are the caissons. These were steel tubes that were put down as the fill was brought up, and that's where we poured, or the contractor poured the concrete to put the steel posts in and have something for them to attach to. So, and you can also see here the coping that we talked about, which basically fits on top of that wall to give it a nice finish on the top. And then the barrier wall will be placed along in front of these steel posts. Next
Is
slide.
that what that wall is going to look like from those houses forever?
The
I mean, I
MSC
know the top
wall
part
will,
will be
yes.
different, but- okay.
Yes. Yeah, and we've been in coordination with the staff at the city about, what was desired for that, and reached back out and just today that, yeah, the desire is to have it be that finish. This is another view. This is showing the difference between the steel post and the concrete post. So this is, I turned around and walked west a little bit and took another picture. So this shows the ramp extension down to Barracks Road, a little bit past where that piece of equipment is. And then the concrete post coming down, you can see the groove in it that the noise wall slides down into. And then you can kind of get an idea of size of scale adjacent to the roadway. These, on this side of the road, these houses, the hill comes up and the houses tend to sit up a little higher, so that wall follows kind of the grade of that hill. It gets a little taller and then drops back down as you go down the ramp. Any questions about 29250?
I continually keep getting asked, the Barracks Road ramp, is that going to open back up for a stop?
I'm waiting on an email. I was told that it was going to open today, and I was hoping that I got that email that the stop sign was going to be removed today in time to tell you that good news. I have not gotten that email yet, but if I get it before we leave here today, I will certainly let you know.
Thank you.
Yes, I've been anxiously awaiting that, hopefully today, if not already.
Dave, does the contractor have their subcontract lined up to stain the wall?
Which fielder's choice?
Yeah.
Stone?
I think what we're.
Or are we
which wall?
still, the sound wall?
Yes, I mean, we're covering that.
Okay.
Looking at some different options there, but to get a more consistent approach like we talked about before.
Right,
the other
right,
three
okay,
projects.
okay, so we're still looking at that?
Yes,
Yeah, okay,
yes.
that's
I
fine.
mean, it's going to happen.
Okay, okay.
I
That's,
mean, it's
you mean it's
lined
going
up.
to happen that way we've been talking about?
Yes.
Have one person?
Yeah, one contractor that will
Good.
do all the projects,
Good.
one subcontractor, that will do all the projects so they'll all have a consistent look. Yep. Any other questions on 29250? Good. All right, move on to right grade separated intersection. We got a long list of things going on this week and for the next couple of weeks. Continuing the widening in all four quadrants, that's really starting to shape up and actually look like something. So we're seeing progress there, very encouraged by that. Storm drain installations in all the quadrants, that's a difficult process. A lot of these are very deep, large storm sewers. Continuing work on stormwater management basin 4. This is the one in front of Virginia National Bank. It's on the southbound lanes south of Rio. So they've got part of it in, and now they're working up the lanes. Forming abutment B. This is tying the steel, getting it all ready for concrete pour. We actually have our first concrete pour on an abutment tonight. So that's a big milestone there. Placing steel for abutment B. They're continuing to place that steel further down, so we have sections of pours, so they'll be kind of following the steel. Forming abutment A. Setting the tieback piles and installing the tieback piles. They're wrapping up with that. Should be done in the next couple of weeks with the actual tiebacks. Installing the fire department connections. This is for future fire service. It's actually a dry standpipe system for the bridge structure, something that we coordinated with the fire department. Signal trenching and boring. So we have a lot of conduit that has to go in to communicate from one signal to the other and go underneath the road. So they're working on that. Lane closures this week, the crossover, restricting those through movements on Rio and the left turns. as they usually do at night when they have the triple lane closures, southbound and northbound, and then also a right turn lane closure from 29 South to Rio West at night. They continue to work in that area, so they go ahead and close that, moving down and have the detour along Woodbrook to Berkmar for that movement. So over the next 2 weeks, a lot of the same activities here: widening, storm drain, stormwater management basin 4, beginning stormwater management basin 6. This is located at the entrance to Albemarle Square along the northbound lanes. That one is back off the road, so there really aren't any direct lane closures associated with that one. Continuing to form abutment B, pouring concrete, placing steel at abutment B, forming abutment A, continuing to set the tieback piles and the installing the tiebacks and the fire department connection. All right, that's okay. And then the lane closures are the same as what we just spoke about for this week. So no changes to the lane closures from this week over the next 2 weeks. Excellent. So we've been talking about abutments and forming abutments and tying steel. This is one of the abutments, and you can see this area here is where the steel plates are during the day. When they pull those off, this is what it looks like underneath. We've got these cross braces, steel plates here, holding everything back, and these folks are down in the trench tying steel that will be formed up and poured as the abutment. So there's a lot of work that's going on in those trenches every night, getting it all prepared for being ready for this summer on May 23rd when they're ready to open it up. And from what we've been told, possibly setting the first bridge beams by May 25th. So it's very, very fast. Yes.
Now think about that a bit. That's pretty cool. I mean, 48 hours like Mars.
From a risk perspective, that's very cool because that greatly reduces our risk of anything going wrong during the summertime period.
It's pretty impressive.
Well, I was going to hold off, but I'll go ahead and raise it right now. One of the things I was going to ask for is a future board agenda discussion was the construction sequencing during this 102 days.
Yeah.
I mean, what you just said just floors me. The idea that they're going to close the road and then 2 days later be setting the beams. That's
Kind of a breakdown of that grid that we saw earlier, but in a shorter period of just what's happening there.
Well, what they've done is they've taken the actual bridge construction, and instead of doing it at the end, they're pushed it up to the beginning, because it's the highest risk item that they have.
Right.
sure.
So what they're going to do is they're going to take out all the asphalt that's there where the bridge needs to go. They'll excavate down about 7 feet, and then they can start setting beams because their abutment's already in place. And so then they come back and they excavate on the sides and then pull out the dirt that's underneath the bridge. So the whole time they can be constructing the bridge, they can be constructing the deck, they can be constructing the barrier walls, the parapet walls, all the architectural treatments that go on there. So it really reduces the overall risk. Not only
We'll lay that out. We'll lay that out for you. Maybe not the 31st, maybe the first meeting of
Yeah,
April.
I just thought like a month
Yeah.
before they get started, something like that.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of nice to see how they're going to do it.
And the nice thing about the structural pieces going in early is that then people who are driving through there can kind of see it, and it won't just be dirt for months and months and months, and then suddenly there's something to look at.
Yes, absolutely. Don't blink, you'll miss some of it.
Yeah.
Hey, just out of curiosity, is there a home for the dirt? I'm sure there is.
There are. They've talked about 29 Widening. There's a need for some dirt there. And then also on the north side of Berkmar, those 2 locations. So there's no hauling dirt to some residential neighborhood or anything and dumping there. All the dirt that is excavated for the entire project its final home will be on the project.
Recycled dirt.
Yes, absolutely. Any other questions?
Which I guess explains some of the rush to get the clearing done on the bird box.
Well, there's a rush to do
There's
it.
other reasons for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll talk about that bridge as well.
Cross it.
Next slide. This is just something else that we've been talking about for a while, and I don't think I ever had a good picture to really bring this home and create a mental picture for folks. Is This is the operation that's been occurring when they're installing the piles, not the retaining wall, not the abutment piles, but the retaining wall piles. So we have this crane here that's lowering a pile into a hole. It was just augured by this auger here, and a concrete truck is staying ahead of it, or they're following behind it and pouring concrete. So it's drilling the hole, setting the pile, pouring the concrete, and that is a lot of equipment to have on a highway like Route 29, right at the intersection of Ryder Road. That's why they need 3 lanes closed. So it really is a lot of operations going on at one time. And as you can see here, this stuff up in the air is very easy to hit. You know, signal span wires, power lines. So they have to be very careful moving this stuff around. It takes some time. So there's a little insight into why things take a little time and why they need 3 lanes closed at night. Any other questions on Ryo? Okay. Route 29 widening. This week, they are beginning the jack and bore. This is a 60-inch reinforced concrete pipe that they're basically going to shoot underneath the 29 without ever disrupting traffic. There's a series of those. It's a tricky operation, but they've got Webb out of Richmond, who's very, very good at this, doing the work, so we're very confident about them. Temporary and permanent drainage installations, cut and fill in the median, and a little bit of hauling from the Burkmore Extended Project on the south side of the river. They've got a lot of dirt stockpiled, which is why they're kind of stuck at 70% on the grading, because they're waiting to get that dirt out of there. So now things have dried up and they can start hauling out of Burkmore and dumping into 29 widening. Establishing erosion control and mulching. So they're clearing a lot of land and they're coming behind the clearing with their erosion control to make sure we don't have any DEQ issues. Installing the gas main, Philip mentioned earlier about it being scheduled for the end of April. That's in 3 phases. Their production has been very good, the company that's installing the gas main. But I think they're moving so fast, they're going to kind of catch up to where Lane Corman is with their grading in the median. So that's kind of why it might stretch out a little bit further. And continuing the Dominion utility relocations that have been going on, they're setting some poles. I think they have 7 poles to adjust on the west side of the road. But they're large poles, so they take a little bit of time. Lane closures are the same as we've always talked about. Nighttime, left lane closures, northbound and southbound. Sometimes they'll do a right lane closure if they're doing a little bit of clearing at some of these stormwater management locations. They've been taking some trees down, so they'll close the right lane instead of the left lane, but always maintaining 1 lane of traffic there. Over the next 2 weeks, they'll continue that first jack and bore operation, continue the temporary and permanent drainage, the cut and fill in the median, and maintaining the erosion control and mulching, continuing to install the gas main, and the Dominion utility relocations will continue. So over the next 2 weeks, expect the same lane closures, generally 1 lane in each direction closed, if they need it for any particular piece of work. But they are working behind barrier wall generally in the median, so it minimizes the need for lane closures. Any questions on 29 widening? Comments? Okay. This is a picture looking south, probably about a little bit closer to Polo Grounds than Ashwood, but this is the compacted grade. They have come through here with right up the middle with the gas main, and then recompacted that, so you kind of get a sense of a lot of progress as far as earthwork and gas main for 29 widening median. Slide. This picture, I just looked at it and it struck me as maybe not everybody's seen the inside of a signal cabinet. They're pretty complex. And so when there's issues with signals, this is why, one little circuit fails and things go haywire. Yeah, I mean, fortunately the picture takes. Yeah, I just thought it was a good thing to see. This is actually the cabinet at Asheville Boulevard in 29.
I like the drawing on the door.
Yes, you are.
This is our phasing diagram. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So when the signal tech goes out, he can figure out which phase goes with which one of these circuits. So I just figured you all might be interested in seeing that. Slide. So Burkmar Extended worked this week, continuing to construct Pier 1 and 2 crane pads. So the area adjacent alongside the river has been cleared. They've constructed the pad to bring the cranes out to start, hopefully on Monday, the drill shafts for the piers. Moving very, very quickly on Burkmar. This is well ahead of schedule. There's actually some desire to possibly complete that bridge this year. That would be amazing if they built both those bridges this year. It would be way ahead of schedule. Setting the abutment A retaining wall panels. These are the MSE panels like we looked at on the 29250 project. It's kind of like Legos. You put them together, bring your backfill up behind it. Setting the footer forms for abutment B, that just creates the foundation for those MSE panels. Establishing erosion control and clearing north of abutment B. Well, the good news is here, they're almost done clearing Burkmar. I think they've cleared just about all the property they have right now. We've got a little bit more right-of-way to clear up, but I think they're about 75–80% done with the clearing on Burkmar. I guess I've got that in there twice. Significant lane closures this week. We have a flagging operation on Ryder Mills Road. So what that is there's a lot of big trucks coming in. We have the quarry trucks that use that section of road. So we have flaggers out there so we can stop traffic if a large truck needs to come out or enter the project zone, so we have a much safer operation there. I think that the traffic on Ryder Mills Road has tripled recently due to the interest in what's going on over there. We've got the crane up right above Ryder Mills Road. All those piles are driven now, so I think people are kind of coming in to check it out, and it seems like traffic's gone way up. Over the next 2 weeks, finish up Pier 1 and 2 crane pads. Those are pretty much done. Continue to set abutment A retaining wall panels, the footer forms for abutment B, erosion control, following that clearing. Finish up clearing on abutment B for those parcels they haven't already cleared up near the north end, and beginning the drill shafts for the piers. The drill shafts will be a very interesting operation that's getting kind of complex. These are very large diameter drill shafts. I believe there's 3 for each pier, so that'll take a little while. And then again, we'll continue that flagging operation. There'll be concrete trucks coming in and steel deliveries and all these things, so we want to make sure we have a safe work zone there. This picture is taken from abutment A, which is on the south side of the river, looking across the river to abutment B. And what we see here is all the piles are in at abutment A, and all the piles are in at abutment B. Same situation we had driving piles on abutment A with the crane over on the north side of the river now. They're bringing up the MSC panels and the backfill, but it looks quite a bit different. This picture was actually taken over a week ago, and the clearing has continued all the way up through here. So now when you look up, you can see the entire alignment looking from this location. So now it's actually starting to look like you can visualize where the bridge is going to be, what it's going to look like, and how big it's going to be. The bridge is approximately 700 feet long. It's not a small bridge.
Yeah, it's a big bridge. I walked out there the other day. It shocked me how far it is. Yeah. From takeoff to landing.
Yeah.
I mean, pictures don't do justice.
No, they really don't. They really don't. And it's so I mean, a lot of progress, and it happened very, very quickly. When we don't have to deal with traffic, things can get done very quickly. Next slide. And I wanted to show you this picture. This was actually taken, I don't know, Lou, maybe you took this picture?
Yeah, I was on the north side of the river over by the north abutment with a tall photo lens, so it's shot across the river.
So you zoomed way in on this, and we can see the MSC panels here. And this probably was early last week. Yes, early last week. So now they've got quite a few more panels up, and you can see all the piles. But one of the interesting things, this is a hydro seeder. It looks like a giant fire truck, and they're shooting seed and water mixture up onto those slopes to stabilize those slopes. But you can also see this is roughly the grade of the road down here, and all this dirt up here, this old mountain back here, that's all that they've got stockpiled there waiting to go to 29 Widening so they can finish up their excavation.
Will there be trees replanted along there after it's done?
Yeah, it's a shame Henry's not here. Henry commented on our planting plan for Burkmar, and I think he actually said it's almost too much. But yeah, there's actually quite a bit
Thought there must be, but I wasn't here when that first.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we can certainly provide you the planting.
I'm sure it's
the
in the-
landscape. It is.
I'll just look for it.
we'll make it a little simpler then.
Okay.
We'll review that.
All right, thank you.
PDFs maybe are good. I like it. Yeah, we have a very extensive landscaping plan for Berkmar. Any other questions on Berkmar? Guess it's another one we don't want to blank, we might miss it. Okay, signal updates. I've kept this on here just to keep it in everybody's mind. There have not been any changes to this plan. These additional signal improvements are still planned from April 1st to May 1st, which in 2 weeks.
I was going to say, starting next month, there should be some changes here, right? Somewhere.
And I think what we'll do is just go through, I mean, we had a list of
we had that
projects that we
list.
can say, which ones were completed.
Right. Okay.
But again, no changes as of now. They're wrapping up the design now, going to construction here very shortly. Any questions on this? Al, want to walk us through Charlottesville Extended?
Thanks, Dave. Afternoon. Hillsdale, we're approaching the big day in 2 weeks, as Philip said, from today. This week, we're still wrapping up the memorandum of understanding. That's essentially done. The county's agreeable with the relocation of the stormwater management basin, and the final pieces are being put together with that. Final settlement and closing documents for the USPS property. Those are all together, and that's actually an item on next Monday's city council meeting. So the finalizing approval of sole source proprietary items, that's been wrapped up. We're recommending approval, and that's being put to bed. Completing review of final road and bridge bid package. We provided comments to the city and their designers on those final plans, and they were pretty minor, just a few little things there, so they're in pretty good shape. We're continuing with right-of-way negotiations and wrapping up the last remaining parcels for those, and continuing with relocations of utilities. We had a good meeting yesterday with the out-of-plan utilities, Comcast, CenturyLink, and Dominion Power, and walked through what they anticipate their sequence is with focus areas on the areas where the contractor will want to start and work through, so that work is being coordinated.
Is Ting involved at all in that? Is
Excuse me?
Ting involved in that corridor or not?
Ting?
Ting.
Ting? I don't, not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of. Okay. Resolve any remaining issues with the bid package. I think they were, the design team and the city were looking at a few little things in addition to our few comments, just to wrap those up. Special provisions and other things as well. Finalizing, well, that's already underway. Obtain federal authorization for ad. We have a checklist of items that need to be at hand before we can get federal authorization, because this is a participating project, as we call them when federal money is being used. Complete the right-of-way negotiations, continuing with utility relocations, and the big item is advertisement in 2 weeks.
We have a little bit of a treat here. We actually have our first picture on Hillsdale. This is the beginning of utility relocation.
Right.
The installation of that.
Start
service.
small,
That's
doesn't
right.
it?
Not everything is big and complex.
But we are ahead of schedule.
Yeah, absolutely.
Utility
Absolutely.
relocations. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think we had a start date of April.
On behalf of the city, I'd just like to thank you all for the work that was done on the right-of-way acquisition, because I think that that's something that really helped to have the state level folks kind of, the weight that they bring to that is really helpful.
We started with the post office property about a year ago.
Yes.
It's taken about a year.
Thank you.
And the businesses, as you know, are complex as well. So.
And I think today we received authorization for Comcast to begin their relocations as well, right? Was it Comcast?
That's right.
So that's underway. Any questions on that?
Tuesday, Dave updated the CTB on all the Route 29 projects, and I know that was something that they were really interested in, and Dave did a great job of giving them an update. And I mean, aside from all the projects, I know Hal's probably sick of starting every morning with a note from me that says, "Quick question." But that whole team has done a great job. On the budget, the bottom line is that we've got about $4.6 million worth of invoices that were processed over the last month. A change order moved over from expenditures into the approved column on the design build projects, and I think we mentioned once before that this exposure or anticipated change orders, the bulk of it is tied up in the additional architecture, landscape, and lighting treatments, because we knew we were going to do something, we just didn't know what, so it wasn't in the bid. So the amount that the remaining contract value has come down is less than what was invoiced, because you have to add in the change orders. And we'll keep monitoring this and updating you on the overall budget the second meeting of every month. Nothing there really jumped out at me this last monthly period. But any questions on budget?
Not a budget thing, but if I can jump in real quick, just got an email on this.
On Berkman?
On 29-250, the stop sign will be removed very shortly. They're finishing up work. Do that today.
The Mark Graham stop sign.
Man,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
There you go.
What great
There you
response.
go.
I asked you.
There it is.
Thank you.
We're good on signs today. Yeah. Hey, the long and short of what happened here is that a mistake. I mean, a mistake. Duck Bank is uncovered. There are utility lines in it. Communication takes place as to whether or not these utility lines are active, and the answer that came back was that they were not active. So the utility lines weren't cut by accident. They were, well, I guess you could say it was a mishap, but
Kind of self-fulfilling prophecies. They're not
they
active.
were
Now they're not.
they were intentionally cut because the thought was they were not active. And you know, you can't make any excuses. Things happen. I'll give a lot of credit to really CenturyLink. Just performed admirably. I mean, they sent a guy up from Martinsville who corralled this whole recovery team to restore service. And, you know, if I'd have been on the bad end of that, you're not a happy camper. And 24 hours is a long time to go. I give a lot of credit to CenturyLink, and I do appreciate Lane Corman, you know, after service was restored, putting out just a short statement that's not full of excuses. Just a mistake happened. They put a process in place now that's not bureaucratic by any means, but has a sort of a third-party independent check to make sure the right word comes down if there are any other utilities that are encountered. You know, utilities have to be marked, and you have to constantly remark them as markings wear out or are destroyed as you do the work. So that's the long and short of it. I don't know how many people were out. I never heard a number. It was certainly in the thousands, but I don't know, and I don't know who might know. But you know, we can only look forward now. And I know it impacted the airport. I don't know about Fashion Square or your businesses. Well, the JCPenney, we know was impacted. Lou?
Philip, by way of explanation, we asked about the extent of the outages, and CenturyLink was very hesitant to share that information.
Okay.
They consider that to be proprietary because of the competitive advantage that their competitors could gain if they knew how much capacity
Fair enough.
those cables
Yeah,
will
all right.
hold. So they
All right.
really, they deflected that question pretty aptly.
So somewhere between 1 and 1 million.
I think probably several thousand
Yeah.
is
Yeah, it's good
in
enough.
the ballpark.
Okay. But I don't know what more to say about that. I mean, it could go beat somebody up, but that wouldn't do any good. And they did notify us properly, and I'm sure it wasn't a happy day for Lane Corman, because there's some liability that goes along with this, right? CenturyLink's not going to come and do all that work for free, and but you won't see that on our budget sheet. To the upcoming calendar, I didn't hear anything, so we'll stick with this calendar for now. I would like to organize an on-site meeting in June, and Lou, if you could maybe work with someone who happens to have some location around that, I think it would really be nice. And I do think you need to be thinking about an observation area so that when media does want to come out, there's one place to go and one place only that's safe and not in anybody's way. And I can send this list out to you all again on a sheet of paper like we've had, but you good with June is a good month to get out there? I think that would be good. Okay, that's what we'll plan.
Pretty darn
New
close.
meeting, new business. No,
Can I put
Seriously.
something on the agenda to discuss next time?
absolutely.
Maintenance of traffic at the intersection. I'm a little concerned about the volume of traffic coming off Rio Road East onto 29, that when the intersection is closed, the number of cars that will be attempting to make that first U-turn opportunity in front of Colonial.
Yeah.
And also, I think, and Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but that signal is going to go away, north-south signal, because there will be no need for it.
Correct.
So you're going to have uninterrupted north traffic all the way from the temporary signal in front of Fashion Square coming through, choked down to 2 lanes. And the volume coming off of Rio
Pausing to turn
onto
on.
1 lane, trying to weave over across 4 lanes of traffic to make that immediate U-turn. I would just ask, can you guys look at that and actually look at both sides coming west or east on Rio? But I don't think that's something we've really considered.
Trying to get to the temporary crossover there.
The U-turn.
Yeah.
Anybody that was going to go straight or going to turn left on the 29
One of the
south.
things, and
Right.
what we had looked at in the model was Woodbrook being overloaded. U-turns and left turns.
Right.
Woodbrook to get to Bergmar, to get to businesses. So that was part of the reason, and we will look at it, but just keep in mind that we added Myers as additional capacity for U-turn movements there.
But I think
Well,
that's
it's
what I hear
the way
people
to take
saying
the
is,
first turn.
yeah,
But also, I mean, there may be
Yeah.
something that you look at in terms, and you just may have to read and react and be prepared to react. But you may look at some sort of temporary signal that for that northbound break. Because if that volume coming north on 29 is so much and it's uninterrupted, there's never going to be an opportunity to get over it. You've got 4 lanes of traffic to get across in a short distance. And
to weave across from Rio. Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
just something to table for next.
Yeah,
next month.
okay, okay,
Time to get.
okay. All right, all right.
I was going to follow up on a recommendation I think it was Karen that made several meetings ago about looking for opportunities for positive press releases. And I think You all mentioned earlier today that the first budget meetings would go down within a few days of the closure starting. I mean, that might be an opportunity to do something like that. I just thought,
After it goes down.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lou, I know we talked about the utility relocation. Did that go out already? Or?
That's good. It's gonna go, I'm gonna send that out first of next week.
Just, there are
Yeah.
some people that utility relocations
Are complete.
Colorado is a little bit of good news, say things are going in the right direction, feel confident about your schedule. But yeah, I think that would be a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah.
When they do.
Maybe just give people hope, because everyone's going to be pretty down when that intersection closes, and then if they find out within 2 days, look how much
Yeah.
progress has already been
It
made.
was worth the detour.
Yeah, yeah. Mark? Karen?
Yeah, definitely the schedule, the detailed schedule.
Yeah,
As soon
okay.
as we can. for that
Okay,
30 days in
okay.
advance. And, yes, Pete's saying too, I'm still studying this and finding.
Yeah.
Hey,
Concern
it's,
there, it's just gonna be.
it-
There needs to be some control, because right now on.
yeah,
The right going northbound onto 29
Uh-huh.
from Rio, even with the signal, is backed up. Frequently, especially at specific times of day.
okay. Did you want to see one of those ads?
Or no.
Well, okay, we can adjourn, but then you've got it, you can show. Did you get it?
Get your TV.
We can adjourn. We can adjourn, we'll be back here the day that Hillsdale is getting there. If it had not already been. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.